Hello everybody, WX9KVH here. Today I'm going to go over how to program a basic channel into your Anytone 878 or 868. I am currently using the Anytone 878 non-pro version, and for today's demonstration I am using version 1.17, which is the latest version of the software for the Anytone 878. Right away off the bat, a lot of people forget to do this step. We're going to go up to Tools, we're going to go up to Options, turn GPS and APRS on. Now if you have a Pro model, an 878 Pro, and you have the Bluetooth model, you want to check this box. If not, and you have the 500 hours of recording, you're going to want to check this box. And click OK when you have things set up. Always have GPS and APRS set up and turned on if you plan on using the GPS or the APRS. We then are going to go over here to the Digital tab, and we're going to go down to Radio ID List, and we're going to double click in the blank box here for Radio ID number 1. This is where you're going to put your 7-digit DMR ID that is issued by radioid.net. And we're going to use mine, and then down here you're going to put your call sign, because depending on how you set your radio up, this will be transmitted with your key up over your hotspot or over the repeater to other radios that have the ability of decoding what they call the talker alias, which is down here, but we're not going to get into that. Might as well set it up now so it's ready to go when that time comes. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here to Channel. I'm going to delete what's in Channel 2 here because we're going to focus on just Channel 1 here. I live in Wisconsin, so for this video we're going to use Wisconsin 1 as the channel name. And then we are going to put in a frequency of 442.0 and a transmit of 447.0. I'm going to keep this as basic as possible so you guys get the idea of how this works, and hopefully you guys will have a better understanding of how to program DMR. Now, if you have a hotspot, the receive and the transmit frequency are going to be the same, and you will come over here and put it on simplex for a hotspot, not repeater. Having it set to repeater, it's going to look to see if the repeater is there before it allows you to key your radio up. If you had it set in simplex, it's not going to wait. It's going to allow you to key up. With a genuine repeater, it's always pulsating a signal so that radios know the repeater's there and that they can talk. Simplex removes that problem. When the 878 first came out and the duplex hotspots first came out, there was a big problem with radios being able to key up, and you wouldn't be able to key up because it would tell you that the repeater wasn't there. This was Anytone's solution to that problem. Correct frequency, we are not going to mess with that, because if your hotspot is programmed correctly, it should already be programmed to the point where you don't have to worry about this field, and this should not ever have to be a problem on a genuine repeater. Channel type, we're going to do digital for today because that's DMR. You do get your choice of analog, digital, mixed mode receive with a analog transmit, or a mixed mode receive with a digital transmit. Transmit power, you can choose whatever you want. You got low, high, or low, mid, high, and turbo. I like to set mine for low because I generally use mine for hotspot usage. Where I live up in the Fox Valley, there really isn't much coverage for DMR up this way. Bandwidth, always going to want to leave that on 12.5 kilohertz when you're using DMR. Transmit permit. Now this is one that a lot of people just overlook, but it is very important. And this is here so that you can't key up with somebody else while they're talking. So what I have found works the best is different color code. And what that means is when you key up, it will allow you to key up as long as the color code isn't active. So if you have your radio set for color code 9, so just for an example, because that's what we use here in Wisconsin, if someone's using and talking on the repeater using color code 9, this is not going to allow you to key up until that person unkeys their radio. And then it will allow you to key up. The other ones are always, which means it allows you to key up no matter what. Channel free, which means the repeater needs to drop its carrier. So if you want to key up right when someone's done, well then you're going to have to wait for the repeater to drop. And by then, somebody might have already jumped ahead of you, and you're going to find it very difficult to get in your turn in a QSO. And same color code, this will allow you to key up when the repeater is transmitting with the programmed color code. So you don't want that. So we're going to choose different color code. Scan list, that's something you choose to set up if you want. We're not going to go over that today. This is all APRS packet reporting. We're not going to go over that. This is all analog stuff down here. Over here under the digital tab, seeing as how we have a digital setup here, this is what you're going to be using for programming. If it was analog, you'd see that this would all gray out and it would go over to analog. But for today, we're doing digital. The first thing you want to do is you're going to want to program a contact. Currently, the only thing that's programmed is contact 1 as a group call. We'll get into that here in a minute. Make sure radio ID is set to your call sign, because that's what you're going to need to access networks such as Brandmeister and things like that. Color code, you want that set to whatever your repeater requires, as well as the time slot requirement for whatever talk group you're talking on. The receive group list, not going to go over that. That's if you want to listen to multiple talk groups on a single channel without having to scan. This is very different than promiscuous mode because this will only scan what talk groups you have programmed in that list versus programming them all. Digital encryption, not allowed on ham radio. It's very frowned upon, so we're not even going to get into that. Call confirmation, ranging, SMS confirmation, you can ignore that. You can leave all that stuff unchecked. And all this stuff, I believe, you can leave unchecked as well. So then we're going to click OK. And everything up here changes. But the one thing that is still needing to be addressed is the contact. So you're going to come over here under the digital tab. You're going to go to talk groups. And this is where you're going to program what talk group you talk on. Because I decided to put Wisconsin 1 in there, we're going to double click on the talk group number here, which by default is set as 1. We're going to name the talk group, and I label it Wisconsin 1. You want it set as a group call, not a private call, not an all call. A group call, and then you put in your talk group number here. So it's 3155 for Wisconsin statewide. Go ahead and click OK, and you'll notice that everything's changed here. We're going to go back over to our channel. We're going to double click on this, and then in the contact field, you will see that it's updated to Wisconsin 1, 3155. If we were doing another channel, you'd want to go ahead and put that in there. So double click on that, make sure it says Wisconsin 1, and then you're good to go. So now we have the channel programmed. Our last step that we have to do is we need to assign it to a zone. For this video, I'm just going to make it, and I'm going to call it hotspot. And then on the left-hand side here under available channels, it shows the available list of channels you have programmed. The more channels you put in, the more that will populate in this video. To add it to this zone, you need to click this button right here. You'll notice it'll go from the left available channel window over to the right zone channel member. Click OK, and when you go to program your radio, it will show up in your zone. Now, just so we can show that this is going to change, I'm going to quick copy, quick paste, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to label this Wisconsin DMR. You know what? We'll label this Wisconsin 2. This is not I'm going to make up a talk group here just to show you guys how this works. And you can see how it works in the talk group list. So then we go to talk groups. I'm going to double click in the blank space here. I'm going to call this Wisconsin. Oh, I need to learn how to spell. 2. Make sure it's a group call. It defaults that way. And then I'm going to type in 31552 just for this video. Then I'm going to go back over to channel, and this is where you got to set your talk group. You double click on it, you click here, and now you'll see we have a new talk group. When you single click on it, it will show you what that talk group number is. So you're going to double click on that, and now you see it's Wisconsin 2. Click OK. Then you got to go back over to your zone, double click on your zone, and now you see that Wisconsin 2 is in this list. Click it over to the right, and now it's in your zone list. If you want Wisconsin 2 to be the first channel in your list, you can highlight it blue here and click the up button. So now it is channel number 1 in that zone. Also, if you use the dual monitor function, you can change which one of the channels is default on the A band and which channel is default on the B band. You would do that here. So at this point you click OK. Now it shows you have 2 channels in the zone, and you would go up here to program, right to radio, make sure you have your proper COM port set. Mine is 7, but it's not in this list because I don't have the radio plugged in. You would go back to program, click right to radio. It's going to pop up and ask if you want to write your other data or digital contact list. You only have to write your digital contact list once, and that's whenever you update your contact list. It takes a significant amount of time longer to do that, so I usually just write the list, and then I go back in and I disable this. I just write the other data, and then it will write it. Just to show you guys what my code plug looks like, I will bring up this here. My code plug is a very complex code plug. I have over, I believe, 500 channels, maybe 400 channels. Close to 500 channels by the time I scroll through this massive window of things. And if we go into the talk group list, you can see I've got all of these talk groups. Well, I have a ton of talk groups. So as time goes on, you guys will get to the point where your talk group window will look like this. Hopefully this video will help you guys in learning how to program DMR. I know when DMR first came out several years ago, it was very, very confusing and intimidating to program it. It is nowhere near as easy as programming something on System Fusion. I just got my first System Fusion radio. I'm learning how to program it, and it is a breeze to program. But I do like DMR. The versatility of DMR is a little bit nicer. So hopefully you guys can take this video and apply it. So for now, I'm going to upload this to YouTube, and if you guys have any questions about what you want a video of next, let me know in the comments down below, and I will get around to making that video for you guys. 73 for now. WX9KVH.